if we could have with us Miss Allison Kessler, or as I know her, Greyson's mom. You're recognized.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today. Just lower that. My name is Allie Kessler. I'm not only a protective parent advocate, but I'm a mom who just lost their 4.5-year-old son due to a filicide suicide just a few months back. Greyson's death was 100% preventable, but judges denied injunctions and restraining orders, citing there wasn't enough evidence. But there was. They just chose to ignore it, giving power to parental rights over children's safety. Greyson was 4 years old when his own father murdered him during a court-ordered parenting time in the midst of a high-conflict custody battle in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I was a single mom from the beginning. Greyson's father wanted nothing to do with us until he filed a paternity case when Greyson was 6 months old, for which he was instantly awarded 50% joint custody when he wasn't even on the birth certificate. I was in an ongoing battle to protect my son despite years of evidence, including threats, degrading texts, violations of signed agreements, refusal to pay for school and activities, refusal to agree on just about everything. And then finally, I was cyber-stalked with tracking devices on my car, and I received text messages that included, I want to see your head separated from your body. I filed a petition for a domestic violence injunction the day before Greyson was killed, which was denied. I also begged for an emergency pickup order when Greyson was missing from school for 2 days in a row, and that was also denied. Knowing that I had to do something, the day before Greyson was murdered, I went down to the courthouse to file a domestic violence injunction. 2 hours after filing, the injunction was denied, stating not enough evidence was provided, even though I wrote in big letters, I fear for my life, but most of all, I fear for my son's life. I also attached 250-page documents of texts with threats and erratic behavior. I also tried to get an emergency pickup for Greyson because he was missing for school for 2 days, which was denied. I then brought my car into the body shop because I knew I was being tracked, and sure enough, the mechanic handed me a device and said, yes, we found this on your car. I immediately went to the Plantation Police Department, filed a report and a claim. The morning my son was found dead, I had called the police 3 times during the course of the day to get wellness checks because he still wasn't in school. I called Broward Sheriff's Office. I called Child Protective Services. I called the Fort Lauderdale Police, Broward Sheriff's Office. Nobody would help, stating the child was with his parent and that this was a custody matter. That night, after not seeing my son for 2 days, I hired a locksmith to break down the door because police wouldn't help, even though his car was parked in the gated community. I coordinated with the owners of the condo in New Jersey, with the locksmith and the Fort Lauderdale police to break down the door 36 hours after he was murdered. And sure enough, they found Greyson and his father with gunshot wounds to the head on the couch and covered in blood. Despite 4 years of trying to get protection, I was failed by multiple lawyers, mediators, custody evaluators, and 3 judges. The following day, I got a notice in the mail that my stalking injunction was approved, and I had a hearing set for June 4th. That alone says that they found imminent danger. The father was a threat to me, but that he's okay to have Greyson. Our time sharing would have had to have happened at the police station. That's not okay. No human being should have a child in their custody that is harmful to another human being, especially the other parent. If my domestic violence injunction had been approved the day that I asked for it, Giggs would have not gone to his father that night. Giggs would be alive. Tragically, Greyson's story is not unique, and each year, 58,000 children are court-ordered into the custody of a dangerous parent. More than 500,000 children are ordered to be with a parent who emotionally, physically, or sexually abuses them by family courts. Over the last decade alone, approximately 900 children have been a victim of filicide. These abusers used a variety of tactics to hurt the other parent, including coercive control, gaslighting, verbal abuse, to make them out to be the victim. Coercive control is domestic violence, and it's about power for the abuser, and our current laws puts parental rights over child safety. Coercive control encompasses psychological, financial, legal abuse, and the use of children as pawns, with the tactics used by offenders deployed to hurt and intimidate victims. And this is not okay. I'm here today to honor Greyson's memory by working to ensure that no other child should have the same fate as Giggs, and no other family should be impacted by a similar tragedy. I have a list here of all the children in Florida alone that have been murdered by their parent over the last decade, and it's 2 pages long.
Thank you, Allie.
And I just wanted everyone to see what that my sweet son looked like, because I want everyone to know that he was the happiest little boy in the world, and I gave him that life.
Thank you, Ms. Kessler, and thank you for your advocacy and being here today. I know how hard it is.
Thanks for listening and having me here.
Thank you. Members, is there any debate on this bill? I'd like to say my 2 kids went to the same school and in the same class as Giggs, and I know Mrs. Kessler well, and we've been working on this right after this happened. And your advocacy is incredible, and I'm so sorry for the things that you have had to endure. But all of this will be to ensure that no children have to be in unsafe situations. And we know that I think of Giggs and Frozen and how much he loved all of those wonderful things. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your advocacy. Senator Berman, you are recognized to close on your bill.
I want to debate.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you on that side. I apologize. Senator Torres, you're recognized in debate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's sad when the system fails you. You know, that's the point. I keep going back to my law enforcement background from New York, where the system of law enforcement and judicial, the judges, I don't understand doing that. They don't see this. They don't understand this. They don't see the documents that you proved, you know, to protect the child. You know, is this going to protect the children? Are the judges going to file and protect those innocent children who are subject to this, or the mothers who are seeking protection for those kids? Because I'm listening to what the mother just stated, and it's like they didn't hear her. The judge refused to hear her, and the system, with all the laws that we have and all the agencies we have, it failed. It shouldn't have happened. And I'm hopeful that by Senator Bergman's law, this bill will make it mandatory to protect those children and those families. I'm just sick and tired of hearing that the judges, well, we send them back to somebody. No. Most of the time, when I was in New York, the child went back to the mother, stayed with the mother until they could prove otherwise. Down here, what is it? They drink the water and they change their mind?
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you, Senator Torres. It's very frustrating and very upsetting, but we know that Senator Berman's bill will seek to address some of those things, and in Greyson's memory. Senator Berman, you're recognized to close.
Thank you. And I wasn't even going to close, but based on what you just said, I want to explain a few things that happened. One of the things that the judge said was the threat was against you and not against your child. Right. So we make very clear in our law that if there's a threat of domestic violence against the mother or another family member, that needs to be considered, and that can be grounds. And in addition, we did talk about the coercive control becoming part of the bill. And that's a really important part of this, because you don't have to show bruises to be a victim of domestic violence. If someone is controlling you, you are a victim of domestic violence. So I know I am disappointed that the court system failed Allie Kessler and Greyson. and I'm crying with Ally. But I'm hopeful that this bill will address those and that we won't continue to have this kind of situation in the state of Florida.
Thank you, Senator Berman. Nikki, will you please call the roll on Senate Bill 1106?
Senator Albritton,
Yes.
Senator Broder, Senator Harrell,
Yes.
Senator Rouson, Senator Torres,
Yes.
Senator Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Book,
Yes.
and Chair Garcia.
Yes, and by your vote, please show CS for SB 1106 is reported favorably. Thank you. Members, let us now turn to tab 4,